I thought the only surprise at my baby shower would be the gender reveal, not that my sister-in-law would out my secret $11 million inheritance and accuse me of ruining her life. My name is Tasha Dillard. I'm 33, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I've worked in nonprofit administration most of my adult life. Currently, I'm the grant coordinator for a youth outreach initiative. I'm the kind of person who likes structure, quiet Sunday mornings, and over-researching big decisions. I'm also 7 months pregnant with my first child, a little girl. Her name will be Nia, which means purpose. It's a name that makes me cry sometimes, because everything about this pregnancy feels like it came at the right moment in a life that didn't always make sense. My husband, Miguel, is 34. He's second-generation Mexican-American, grew up in Houston, and moved to Atlanta after college to work in occupational therapy. We met 6 years ago at a volunteer mural project and hit it off fast. He's thoughtful, funny, and steady in the way that makes you realize just how chaotic most people really are. We've been married for 5 years. Our marriage has had its normal ups and downs, but we're tight. We've built a life together from scratch. Monthly meal planning, budgeting, occasional Netflix binges, and spontaneous road trips to Chattanooga. We're that kind of couple. Miguel's family is close, loud, warm, loyal, and very present. He has 3 sisters, Esperanza, Carmen, and Lucia. Sunday dinners at his mom's house are a fixture. Everybody brings a dish, music plays all night, and the kids run wild in the backyard while the adults argue about politics or laugh about old drama. I genuinely love being part of it, most of the time. Esperanza is the oldest sister at 37. She's a single mom with 2 teenagers and works in real estate. She talks fast, moves fast, and makes everything feel like an urgent matter. She's the kind of person who will either defend you with her life or cut you off completely, depending on how the wind blows. She's been vague for years about her work, talks about high-end flips, international investors, all of it just a little too shiny to believe, but nobody questioned it because she always seemed to be hustling. I have my own family too, 2 older brothers and distant, complicated parents. My maternal grandmother, Inez, basically raised me. She was a chemistry professor at Howard University, fiercely intelligent, no nonsense, and deeply principled. She believed in living below your means and giving quietly. She bought me my first laptop, paid for my college tuition, and sent me handwritten letters well into my 20s. When she died 2 years ago, I was devastated, but also oddly calm. She'd prepared me for her absence, or so I thought. I knew she had some money, but she never flaunted it. Drove the same car for 15 years, clipped coupons, lived in a rent-controlled brownstone in D.C. So when I got a call from a D.C. law firm a few months after her passing, I was floored. She hadn't just left me something. She had left me everything. The brownstone, which sold for $2.8 million, stocks, intellectual property tied to an old chemical patent, and an untouched savings account dating back to the 1980s. After taxes, the estate was worth $11.3 million. I almost threw up when I saw the number. I didn't tell anyone, not even Miguel. I told myself I needed time to think, to grieve, to figure out what this meant for my future child. I read books on financial ethics. I looked into philanthropy. I opened a separate account under a trust name. It was all very careful, very private. I didn't buy a new car, didn't quit my job. I kept living the life we already had, just with more security tucked away. I thought I was doing the right thing, but keeping that secret came at a cost I didn't see coming. Not until the baby shower. The baby shower was set for a breezy April afternoon in our backyard. We'd gone all out. Pastel bunting, a custom cake with raspberry filling, a white tent with streamers and fans. Our friends came in waves, dropping off gifts and hugs. Miguel's family arrived in a cluster, all talking over each other. I floated through it all, tired but grateful, one hand resting on my belly like a grounding stone. My best friend Natalie handed me a powder blue bag. "This one's got a little something extra," she winked. "Open the card first." I slid my finger under the envelope flap and pulled out a stiff ivory card. As soon as I saw the handwriting, my hands started to shake. It was Grandma Inez's script. "Dearest Tasha, by now you know about the trust I left you. I only ask that you use it for good. Make the world better for that beautiful baby. And remember, you earned this by being the only one who never asked me for a cent. Love always. Grandma Inez. I don't remember dropping the card. Miguel was beside me in an instant. What trust? He asked, voice low. I couldn't speak. And then Esperanza bent down, picked it up, and read it aloud. Her voice cut through the party chatter like a blade. Wait, what is this? Tasha got a trust fund? I reached for it. It's not. Trust I left you? Earned this? What the hell is this, Tasha? I tried to keep my voice calm. It's complicated. She left me her estate. I found out last year. I just didn't want to make a big deal about it. Esperanza stared at me like I'd confessed to a crime. You mean to tell me you've been sitting on millions while the rest of us have been struggling? I'm about to lose my house, Tasha. My business is collapsing. And you're what? Too good to help your own family? People were silent. A couple of my coworkers looked like they wanted to disappear. I didn't even know this card was going to be in there, I said. I didn't ask Natalie to. Esperanza raised her voice. You let us all buy diapers and onesies while you played broke? Miguel tried to step between us, but she was on fire. You had all this money. And said nothing? How do you even look us in the face? That was the moment the party shattered. People started mumbling. My cousin backed away slowly like this was contagious. Natalie looked mortified. I turned and walked into the house, heart racing, knowing there was no coming back from this. I shut the bathroom door and slid down onto the tile, head in my hands. I didn't cry. Not at first. I could still hear the murmuring outside, the shifting tone of a party turning into gossip. My baby kicked, and that snapped me out of it. I pulled my phone from my pocket and texted Miguel. I need 5 minutes. Then please ask everyone to leave. He didn't respond, but a moment later I heard his voice, firm and calm, asking folks to give us space. Slowly, the noise thinned out. Feet shuffled. Car doors slammed. I came out of the bathroom, face wiped. Down. Miguel was in the kitchen, throwing away paper plates. I was going to tell you, I said. He turned. When? I hesitated. After the baby, once things settled. You thought hiding $11 million wouldn't change us? I stared at the floor. I was scared of what it would mean, how people would look at me. He softened. Tasha, I'm not mad about the money. I'm mad you didn't trust me. That broke something in me. I sat and finally let the tears come. I've never had money like that. I didn't grow up like you did. I thought if I said it out loud, it would turn into something ugly, and I guess it did. We sat in silence. Then Miguel said, Esperanza is spiraling. She's scared. That doesn't excuse what she did, but we need to talk to her. I nodded. But not tonight. That night, I deleted social media, turned off my phone, wrote a letter to my daughter about what it means to receive something big, and how not everything valuable should be shared with everyone. I made 3 decisions that night. 1. I'd meet with a financial advisor to structure a philanthropic fund in Grandma Inez's name. 2. I'd speak with Esperanza, boundaries intact. And 3. I'd never let fear make me smaller again. The following day, Esperanza posted a story time on Facebook. She didn't use my name, but she didn't have to. The caption read, When someone in your family hides millions while you drown in debt, let's talk about fake generosity. She went live for 12 minutes. Cried. Said she wasn't naming names, but some folks pretend they're struggling when they're secretly rich AF. Claimed she was begging for help to keep her business afloat while her own SIL watched her sink. Claimed I used my unborn baby as a shield. The comments were vicious. Friends, acquaintances, even people I barely knew chimed in. Ugh, rich people hiding behind a fake humble act. If I had a rich relative and they let me suffer, I'd cut them off too. A few people messaged me privately. Some were kind, confused, most weren't. Miguel reached out to Esperanza immediately. She didn't answer his calls, just texted. You chose her. Message received. Lucia called that night and apologized for not stepping in. Carmen said she felt blindsided and betrayed, but didn't clarify by who. Miguel's mother, Rosa, was quiet for a week, then called to say, Mija, you should have told us. We would have protected you. Protected me? From what? Meanwhile, my baby registry was suddenly full of cancellations. Venmo notifications disappeared. People stopped reaching out. My coworker, Jane, awkwardly uninvited. Me from her birthday dinner. The world turned cold fast. I met with a financial advisor, and together we finalized the structure for the Inez Dillard Legacy Fund, a scholarship and housing grant program for Black girls pursuing STEM. That was my anchor. That and Miguel. But even we had some rough nights. One night over dinner, I asked him, "Do you really think I was wrong not to tell anyone?" He paused. "I think your heart was in the right place, but you underestimated how entitled people feel to other people's blessings." It stung, but he was right. 2 weeks later, Esperanza sent me a formal request through her business attorney. Not even her personal email. She wanted a $190,000 emergency contribution to protect the family's financial ecosystem. I laughed out loud. It wasn't a loan. It was an expectation. I declined formally, kindly. I offered instead to fund a financial literacy workshop for her and her staff, free of charge. I even included names of Black women accountants and grant writers. She never replied, just blocked. And then Carmen unfriended me. Lucia ghosted for a while. The entire family dynamic shifted. Holidays became tense. Invitations stopped, including me. Baby gifts went unmailed. Rosa visited once after Nia was born, held her granddaughter like a porcelain doll and whispered, "Don't let this money turn you cold, okay?" I bit my tongue so hard it bled. I realized something crucial. For some people, love is conditional, especially when money is involved. But not all of it was bad. Natalie cried when I told her I didn't blame her for the card. "I thought it was beautiful," she said. "I didn't realize how private it was. I'm sorry." We rebuilt. Stronger. At work, my boss pulled me aside and said, "If you ever decide to go full-time into philanthropy, I'd love to collaborate." That felt good. I joined a group of quiet donors who focus on high-impact, low-visibility aid. They taught me how to give in ways that don't center ego or credit, and I stayed in therapy. For the guilt. For the rage, for the grief that still comes in waves. Because here's the truth. I didn't grieve my grandmother's death fully until after that baby shower. When everyone turned on me, I finally understood what she meant when she said, "Keep your treasures sacred." She wasn't just talking about money. She meant my peace, my values, my power. It's been 8 months since the baby shower. Nia is crawling now, babbling in sharp syllables like she has urgent things to say. And honestly, I hope she always does. I've kept most of the money untouched. The Inez Dillard Legacy Fund launched in April on what would have been my grandmother's 90th birthday. The first cohort of girls, 6 bright-eyed high schoolers, from Atlanta, got laptops, mentorship, and housing stipends. One of them cried when she got her acceptance letter to Spelman. That felt better than anything I could have bought. Miguel and I moved to a slightly larger house, not flashy, just practical. We upgraded our cars, paid off our mortgage. That's it. No designer bags, no social media reveals. But what changed? The most was me. Before the inheritance, I lived small, afraid of taking up space, afraid of being too much, too privileged, too Black, too careful, too honest. Afterward, I realized that shrinking myself wasn't the same thing as being humble. It was just hiding. And hiding is exhausting. I have boundaries now, strong ones. Miguel's sisters are still estranged. Lucia sent a brief apology last month, more like a peace offering than an olive branch. I accepted, but I'm not rushing into anything. Esperanza? She's disappeared into the fog of her own rage. Still post cryptic things online about betrayal and fake family. I don't engage. I won't, because here's what I know now. People believe money changes you, but what it really does is change them. It reveals what they expected from you, what they feel owed, what their love was conditional on. And in that way, money didn't ruin anything. It clarified everything. I used to think keeping the inheritance a secret was my biggest mistake. But now, I think it was my armor. It gave me time to figure out who I could trust. Time to protect something fragile. My pregnancy, my peace, my future. And yes, it came with a cost. I lost some relationships. But I gained sovereignty. And I'm teaching my daughter that generational wealth isn't just about dollars. It's about choices, boundaries, values. One day I'll tell her this whole story, maybe on her 18th birthday. I'll show her the trust documents, the letter from Grandma Inez, the news articles about the scholarship program. And I'll say, you don't owe your abundance to people who demand it out of envy. You don't owe silence when your joy threatens someone else's ego. And you certainly don't owe family what they've never earned. Nia will nod. Or maybe roll her eyes because she's 18 but she'll know. And that's enough. That's everything.